Hello YouTube, it's BirdOPray5 again, and welcome to my review of the first episode of Season 2 of the Orville, Geologia. I guess I usually ask if anyone can hear me, although I don't think anyone's actually here yet, so let me check if I can hear me. Yeah. Okay. Sound seems to be working. Um, as for why there's nobody here, I guess it just works out that way sometime. Just as well, I really wanted to do this review first. If people come around, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll just post this live as the review video for Geologia. Okay, obviously, if you're not aware, I am a big fan of the Orville. I had my reservations when I first heard about the show. I really didn't imagine Seth MacFarlane as a great sci-fi storyteller, but by episode 2 of the Orville, I was convinced he was a good storyteller, and by mid-season, I was 100% hooked. I mean, they were doing Star Trek better than anyone has done Star Trek since Enterprise, and arguably even better than before that for some time. Uh, yeah, it had his signature brand of fart jokes and whatnot, but um, they reduced as the series went on, and I'm sorry about the background. You guys know I call it my holodeck because it's just a cheap software version of a green screen. So it's not perfect, but it's better than having the ugly background of my house, which is fine. So just I know it looks funny. Uh, just deal with it. Hello, Thomas, and you hear me? Good to see you. Uh, I already started my review. I was just giving a little background info on the Orville, the fact that I was a little concerned about Seth MacFarlane doing a Star Trek type series, but by episode 2, I was convinced I was wrong, and by mid-season of season 1, I was totally hooked. And so, yes, I start season 2 out as a very big Orville fan. I would put Orville as the number 1 sci-fi series on TV right now. I know some people are going to put that to The Expanse, and I would put The Expanse at a close second. Personally, I prefer the world of the Orville to that of The Expanse. It's just personal preference. They are both great shows. Obviously, very different stories, very different worlds. But the Orville is the peak of sci-fi for me on TV today. Obviously, there's other non-space related sci-fi shows, but as a space related sci-fi series, by far the top, and arguably just the best sci-fi series, period. So, episode 1 of season 2, Geologia. Hopefully, you've seen it already. I can't promise this is going to be spoiler free. There's really no way to review this episode without talking about spoilers. So, I'm gonna be honest. If you haven't seen it, and if you're worried about spoilers, as much as I would love the views and would love to have you stick around and ask questions, uh, you're better off tuning out. At the very least, muting it and waiting till people in the chat say that I've finished talking about it or something. Because it's not going to be a long review, but I just want to get it out there. Spoilers are possible. Okay, so I like the Orville, big fan. I enjoyed this first episode. That said, it's my personal opinion that they missed a pretty big opportunity. Season 1, episode 1 of season 2 followed football on Fox. So they were given a much bigger audience lead in than they're going to get on Thursdays. They're given a lead in of people who might not ordinarily watch the Orville. They might not be interested. They might not realize what it is. They might just assume, oh, it's Seth MacFarlane. I don't want to deal with fart humor and Family Guy style jokes and pass on it. So while I give Geloja a high rating, I'd say it's on a scale of 1 to 10. It's easily a 7.5, probably an 8. A very solid episode. But the fact is, you can't enjoy Geloja if you don't know the characters. I mean, it's a character building episode. You're building up on what we knew about Ed and Kelly's relationship. You're building up on what we knew about the doctor and Isaac and her kids' past relationship. You're building up on Bortus and his history and Mocklands and their culture. Alara's past on the ship. They're all. You can't appreciate the episode if you hadn't already seen season 1. You might be able to, but you certainly can't appreciate it as much had you not seen season 1. So to run that episode, and that episode was out of order. That was not the leftover episode from last season, at least according to everyone who seems to know these things on other YouTube channels and Twitter and whatnot. So why would they put this episode ahead? Really makes me wonder. This would have been perfect for episode that's going to air tomorrow, Thursday. I would have put an episode more like Majority Rule or Into the Fold, the Krill episode about a girl, If the Stars Should Appear, Cupid's Dagger, but maybe not that. New Dimensions, or I think probably my favorite. Majority Rule is probably my favorite from season 1, but Mad Ideology. The last episode, the one where Kelly contaminates a planet's timeline and becomes revered as a god. That was probably my number 2 I considered it number one for a while. Um, I mean, there were 5 or 6 um, solid 9+ episodes, 9 out of 10 rated episodes to me in season 1. I would imagine there's going to be at least some of them in season 2. It'd be a big, big disappointment if we don't get episodes like that again. So if you had an episode that was even, 3/4 as decent as Majority Rule, or gave people something to talk about, like the Krill episode, where they go out of the way to save the children, and then they get told at the end that, now the children are going to think of you as the enemy. Serious episodes. Any of those would have brought in viewers, because even if you don't know the characters' histories, you don't have to. Just the fact that you see these characters rescuing people on a spaceship that they don't realize is a spaceship, and it turns out to be, a generational ship that got lost, or Majority Rule. You see these people go down to a planet where it's ruled by social media. You don't need to know the characters' backstories to appreciate those episodes. It helps, but you can appreciate Majority Rule whether it's the first episode you see of the Orville or the 6th, or whatever episode it really turned out it was. So if they had put one of those episodes at the beginning of season 2, where they had this giant football lead-in, I think they would have had a much, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure the show is doing well enough, but I think it could always do better. I think you could have hit some more fans. You could have tapped some more fans. And then save this episode that they played, which was a great episode for fans of the show who were already fans. Save that for episode 2. Because, I mean, I really like to see the backstory, and I mean, there's some issues with it. Don't get me wrong. I could nitpick the hell out of this, like I could nitpick the hell out of any Star Trek episode or movie or anything like that. I don't want to go down the road of nitpicking, but a few things I have to bring up, or at least the one is Mocklins seem to serve. It's not like Bortus is, we're not told Bortus is special. I mean, we're told even Alara is a little special, that very few of her species join the Union, so that when they do, they kind of fast track them right to the head of the head of the departments that they're in, the security for her. But Bortus's species, we've never heard anything that they're the only Mocklins or anything in the Union. So you would assume Mocklins serve pretty regularly on Union ships. It seems a bit weird that once a year they all ask their captains to divert to their home planet. I mean, and it seems like something he knew the date was coming. I mean, it didn't seem like it just comes out of the blue. The date of your annual Gelogia. That seems like something you would schedule your vacation around, if it's that important to you. And it's not something that you would bother your captain with every time. And what if they were, weeks away from Mockless when he decided to tell Captain Mercer, and his mate is also on the ship. So it seems like ridiculous. If you have two Mocklins on the ship, does this mean twice a year you've got to visit the home world? And now they have a kid. So at some point, are they going 3 times? It just, it, you can understand. Yes, it made a great episode suspending the disbelief that all Mocklins return home for their Gelogia. But in the reality, if they all had to return home for Gelogia, that's just a ridiculous strain on the Union, on Union ships, that they can't be far away. I mean, what if they had 10 Mocklins serving aboard? It's ridiculous. So I don't know. Maybe they'll explain it better as to why Bortus had to go. Maybe he's one of the few Mocklins who chose a place on Mockless instead of another place, or maybe he's just that special that he really does get that special type of attention. So I mean that hit me a little bit with the episode. I was a little concerned as why. I mean, I understand Isaac and the Doctor are having she's allowing Isaac to observe her kids' relationship, and okay, it made sense he was at their quarters because he was giving the son a piano lesson. But the second time he was in her quarters, when the older son came in, just talking about, showing off his friend, and the friend makes that snide remark, and the Doctor throws the friend out. Like, okay, why is Isaac there then? Is he just there observing the family? I mean, it's fine, but that seemed a bit weird. It's like Isaac has already moved in with the Doctor, and that doesn't make much sense. That said, I loved Isaac in the episode. I loved Isaac in almost every episode. You ask him a question, and he gives you the honest answer. Do you think I'm a bad parent? Yes. So yes, I loved Isaac. I loved, their performances were great. But, and again, I don't want to nitpick it to death. There are other people that do that better than me, but it wasn't a perfect episode. But, none are. Very few are. So that's more or less the review. Also, I gotta say, and I called this at my house as it was happening. The next day on Anti-Tractor's Discord, I said it in a couple of comments on other people who've reviewed the episode, but 100% that woman that came on, the dark matter, whatever, astrophysicist or whatever she is, specialist, she is definitely a Krill spy. Now, if you don't remember or don't know, the actress who is playing the scientist is the same actress who played the Krill woman teacher from the Krill episode in season 1. She was the one that told Captain Mercer that she didn't understand why he saved the kids, and he said, "Oh, they're just children. They're not my enemy." And she said, "Well, after today, they will think of you as their enemy." Anyway, so she's the same actress. Now, yeah, it's fairly common, and it's common in Star Trek, that the same actor or actress has played multiple roles, especially when they're in alien costumes and then not in alien costumes, or in one alien costume and then a different alien costume, or even like in the case of the actor who plays Quark, he played one Ferengi in one episode and then he played Quark in another episode. Um, and the actor who plays Martok and Worf, I mean, they've been other Klingons. So it's, like I said, it's not, the actor who played Gul Dukat was a different Cardassian in another episode. So it's not unheard of in sci-fi. It's not unheard of in Star Trek. But just her mannerisms, her dialogue, she had no real history. She didn't want to. She just said, "Oh yeah, I've been posted to different vessels." She didn't give any info on her background. Right away, she wanted to ask the captain, "What's our course heading?" Like that's kind of a weird first question. What's our course heading? A, I assume you could just go look it up if you know what you're doing. And B, that's just weird. Then she wants to familiarize herself with the navigation controls. She doesn't seem like she would have any reason to need to know that, but Kelly lets her, brings her on the bridge, lets her look around and sit down and get a feel for it all. Although you would think that this is all, something they could do in a simulator, and by simulator I mean holodeck, and learn it. I mean, these probably manuals on all this and all those things, and so that was kind of weird. But then the biggest tip off was at the end when she sits down to drink with Captain Mercer. And right before she sits down, Mercer tells the bartender, who happened to be Jason Alexander in a, rhinoceros costume, that he would love for a krill invasion right now. And then like that, she sits down. That is foreshadowing. That's exactly how they do it. That's the clues that they leave. So she sits down and she's showing a romantic interest in Captain Mercer. No, she's showing that interest to get secrets, to get closer to him, to figure out, I don't know what her mission is, but it's something bad. I personally think it's a surgical alteration. I know some people are saying, oh, it's a holographic, because when Captain Mercer and, what's his face? I forget. But when they went on the krill ship, they had holographic disguises. And supposedly one of them even got left behind on the krill ship. So it's possible the krill found a way to reverse engineer it and whatnot. But I really don't think a hologram is as good as I don't think she could really come on board and go day to day using the hologram technology. I mean, the hologram technology was pretty iffy. It was good enough for, they tried to be as visible to others as little as possible when they were on the krill ship, and for good reason. And that holographic technology ended up failing. So I really don't think they could expect us to believe that she's been a hologram the entire time, or coded in a hologram. But I could totally believe she'd been surgically altered to look human. I have no problem with that. They've been doing surgical alterations for people to look human in Star Trek all the way back to the original series. And I mean, Enterprise they just use masks, but in TOS they were aliens surgically altered to look human, to look Vulcan, to look Romulan. So yeah, and by TNG, it was easy. It was done all the time in DS9. So I have no reason to think that Krill technology couldn't make her look human. Um, so that's my guess. My guess is she's there. She's going to try to seduce Mercer, get some secrets, maybe try to kill him because he was the most responsible for taking pictures of their sacred book and killing everybody on the ship. So we'll see. But that's my prediction. I fully believe that. So overall, I'm gonna give the episode. Like I said, it was a good episode. It was very good. It was great if you had seen the prior episodes. So for me, being I was a fan and I saw the prior episodes, I'd give it an 8 out of 10 without a problem. I worry that people who haven't seen prior episodes are going to be a bit more confused and just not and be lost. But that's their issue, and time will tell. I maybe I'm thinking all wrong. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So I'm sorry, guys. I got that out of the way. Let me let me go to the comments. I see a handful of people here. Thomas says Orville is the only show I really watch on TV. Yeah, right now it's. I mean, well, for the last couple of weeks, some of the other shows have been out, but I do watch things like The Simpsons and Family Guy. But on network TV right now, I think those are the only things on network TV in the Orville that I think I'm watching right now. I had to stop watching Madam Secretary this season because they went total social justice warrior. They weren't bad. It wasn't bad for the first 3 or 4 seasons, but this season they just turned it up to 11. So I honestly just had to stop watching that, which is upsetting because it was a decent show up until then. And I honestly can't think of another show. Timeless I was watching on NBC, but that ended. At least they wrapped it up. They did a Christmas episode right before Christmas. That was a 2-hour series finale that wrapped up most of the storylines. So Timeless got a proper ending, even if it was a season or 2 earlier than it should have been. So that doesn't count. I had been watching Manifest. I think that season is over, or maybe it'll come back after the holidays. You know, a lot of shows take breaks. They don't come back till like February at this point. Manifest, that was the show where a plane disappears and comes back, lands 5 years later. Nobody on the plane has aged, and all types of weird stuff is happening. It's a good show. It's worth watching if you haven't seen it. I don't know what else. I guess we'll see what starts up. Also, I like Last Man on Earth. I think its final season is coming up, or maybe it already ended. I forget. We'll see. There's not a whole lot. I mean, there were years there was a lot more stuff I was watching on network TV. OG Spock Love says, "Hiya, Joe." Hello, OG Spock Love. Good to see you. And I don't know. Maybe you're still here. I know I'm a little behind in the comments. 25 minutes behind. Thomas Potts says, "I liked that Kelly episode." Yeah, I assume you mean Mad Ideology. Ideology? Yeah, that was a good episode. All of season 1 was good, and season 2 has been good. So there weren't any bad episodes. Part of Joe is in transporter limbo. That could be OG Spock Love. Especially if you remember I don't know if you saw, but there was that Enterprise. It wasn't transporter, it was cloaked. The Enterprise episode where Trip was working on the Suliban ship that had a cloaking device, and he turned it on with his hand in the ship, and his arm disappeared. And the doctor is like, it'll come back eventually. And he's like, well, I can't work without be able to see my hand. So the doctor just gave him a glove to put on. Yeah, I'm having that similar issue right now. So whatever headcanon you need to explain it, just go ahead and do that. OG Spock Love, they will all go together. Alex the birthday singing man. Hey, Bird of Prey, I just ducking in between Expanse episodes. Okay, well, then you're gonna be having a good night, because The Expanse is a good series, especially if it's your first time watching it. He says, I think Isaac is becoming part of the family, the father figure. And that's fine if he is. It certainly would seem like he is, but it just seems like they accelerated that a little quicker than maybe he should have been. And OG Spock Love says he's fully functional, programmed in multiple techniques. Yes, like Data, no doubt. No doubt. And, you know, the doctor is a single mother, so maybe. But we're not given any reason to suggest that. In fact, kind of the opposite. OG Spock Love says the hot chick. I don't know what you're referring to. The hot chick. Damn kids always trying to get revenge on their parents' murder. Did I miss something? I must have been talking about something. Chief Cook. Hello, Chief Cook. Welcome. OG Spock Love says hello to Chief Cook. Rhino costume. Well, it was. I mean, he was kind of like a two-horned rhino. Why can't she seduce Ed and be a secret agent? Well, she can seduce Ed and be a secret agent. I just, I kind of think that it's sad that another relationship will end badly for Ed. Praise Avis. Yes, praise Avis. Derek McManus. Hey, BOP. Hey there, chat. Hello, Derek. Chief Cook, when is Discovery coming on? January 16th, I believe. Discovery comes back, and I believe the 6th, so like 4 days from now. I think it's the 6th. The last short track comes out, which would be the one with Harry Mudd, or a character loosely based on Harry Mudd and named Harry Mudd for some reason. Of course, this Harry Mudd is a supervillain, where the Harry Mudd from TOS is a below average con artist. But don't let facts or details like that get in the way of a decent story. Derek McManus says, no idea, I'm in Northern Ireland. Can't legally watch it here, Chief. Oh. You can't watch Discovery? It's my... I thought if you had Netflix, that it would be legally on Netflix. Not the short tracks, but season 2 should be on Netflix. But I honestly don't know for sure. Thomas Potts says, I'm going to take a nap before work. I'll watch the rest of your stream later. Take care, Thomas. Thanks for stopping by. Chief Cook says, thanks, OG. Darth Raven. Hello, Darth. Hey there, Bird. How are you? Hope you are well. Just the short tracks, Birds, and ain't on Netflix. Season 2 is coming the 19th. Okay. So the 19th. I was off by a few days. How was your physical therapy today? Oh, physical therapy. Physical therapy takes a lot out of me. The woman that does it, we do a lot of. She pushes me pretty hard, and it's good because I need to be pushed like that. I understand that, but man, it really takes a lot out of you. And today I posted in Anti-Tracker's Discord, but for anybody who didn't see it, now I had the Next Generation playing all day on television in the background. It's been on BBC America all day. In fact, when she was here, Best of Both Worlds was on. So I had the volume down, but it was on in the background. And so now she's 30 years old, and she's from India, but she's been in the country 10 years. She says, oh, Patrick Stewart is in this. And I was like, yes, Patrick Stewart is Captain Picard. And she's like, I didn't know Captain Stewart was in Star Wars. And I know. And I explained, I was like, well, number one, it's Star Trek. And I'm sure you guys are correcting me to say Star Trek. But whatever. She's like, oh, I guess, she like realized the mistake. I was like, no, it's common. It is a common mistake. We talk about these things all the time. And she made that mistake. And then I was like, you really didn't know, he was Captain Picard? You know who Patrick Stewart is? But she didn't know that he was ever Captain Picard. I was like, he's like probably the second most famous Star Trek person ever. And again, she kind of looked at me. I was like, well, second to Captain Kirk, William Shatner. And again, she didn't. I was like, you can't tell me you've never seen an episode of the original Star Trek, the 60s Star Trek. Nope, she didn't. She never saw an episode of the original Star Trek, not even in passing, apparently. I don't know how somebody gets to be 30 years old without watching an episode, or at least knowing of it. I mean, just for the references in other TV shows or other, pop culture. How do you not know William Shatner is Captain Kirk? How does that happen? It boggles the mind. So yeah, you can't watch short tracks legally. Um, Hello, Derek. Darth says Bird of Prey 5. I would have. A, that's not her job. And B, no, I wouldn't do that. And she wouldn't, she would just leave at that point. She's not a nurse. She doesn't get paid to clean up messes like that. She's there to do physical therapy. Uh, and that's it. So, how many people are here? 3 people. Yeah, it is wrong. So Derek, Darth, is there a third here or is it me? Do I count as one of the viewers? Anyone else here? Going once? Going twice? Okay, well, if it's just us guys, is there any questions you guys want to ask or talk about? It seems like a short stream today, so I guess I got a little time if you want before signing off. Darth is doing banking at the moment. That's cool. I hope it's depositing more than you're giving away. I'm good. I'm just catching up, says Derek. Darth, I don't know if I'll be here in 2 minutes. There's no point in live streaming to nobody here. I did the review, which is what I wanted to get out. Derek is on PlayStation. Darth says, sadly, no. It's a bill week. I'm sorry about that, Darth. I have 2 bills on the same day. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, that's fine. You know what? I could use an early night myself. So we're going to call it a night. Thank you guys all for coming here. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you're watching this later and you're not one of my most dedicated 2 or 3 people who I know have already subscribed, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Certainly hit the bell icon if you subscribe, because it's the only way you're going to get notified of anything. If you don't hit that, yeah, almost not worth subscribing, but I'd still rather you subscribe than not subscribe. Hit the like if you like it. If you dislike it, hit the dislike. But please, please, please leave me a comment and tell me what you disliked. I'm trying to make this better, and I appreciate your feedback and criticism. Is helpful. It's helpful. So, press one or the other, please. And if it's the other, then tell me why. Because I won't get mad. I'd like to know. And, I think that's it. I will see you guys out there on Anti-Tracker's Discord or wherever else. If you're bored, join my forum at juot.net. And No, it's not a new mic. This is the mic I always had, but I used to keep it off screen, and because it was further away from my mouth, I had to turn the gain up so it kind of amplified the noises. If I keep it closer to my mouth, I can bring the gain down, and it's just a little quieter stream. There's not as much noise in the background. In fact, taking a cue from Anti-Tracker, when I record videos or audio that I'm not doing live, I put it even closer to my mouth and I turn the gain way down so I get a nice clean audio signal without that white noise in the background. It definitely seems to help. Qapla Mate says, Darth, it's Captain George done with YouTube. I don't know. He has no new content. No live streams. Yeah, I noticed. As far as I'm aware, he's just playing Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a great game, I hear. So I don't blame him. I don't blame him. But we'll see. You know, you have to ask him. I don't know. I haven't heard from him. Good night, everyone. Qapla, and take care.